You ever notice how complicated people make getting rich sound? They talk about manifesting abundance, financial blueprints, mindset rewiring, as if wealth is some mystical code locked behind a door only the chosen few can open. But what if the truth is brutally simple? What if the reason most people never get rich is because they refuse to accept how simple it really is? Not easy, simple. There's a difference. Machiavelli understood that centuries ago, long before there were stock markets or credit cards or side hustles. He saw that power and wealth always followed the same laws. They weren't moral, they weren't fair, they were just real. And if you ignored them, you lost. The first truth is this: getting rich isn't about money, it's about control. Control over yourself, your time, your emotions, and eventually your environment. Machiavelli said that a ruler who cannot control his passions will lose his kingdom. And that's exactly what happens to most people today. They can't control their impulses. They chase every dopamine hit, every limited offer, every short-term pleasure that keeps them in chains. They work all week, complain about being broke, and then blow their paycheck on comfort they'll forget in a day. It's not that they're stupid, it's that they're weak. And weakness is expensive. Strength, on the other hand, pays compound interest. Self-discipline is the first currency of wealth. The rich understand this instinctively, not because they're born with it, but because they see the game for what it is. Life rewards those who act while others react, those who build while others scroll, those who endure boredom while others chase distraction. There's nothing glamorous about the process. Machiavelli said a wise ruler must learn to do what is necessary, not what feels good. That's wealth in one sentence. Do what's necessary, again and again, until people start calling you lucky. Here's the thing, money isn't hidden, it's misdirected. It moves in predictable patterns. Every time someone overspends, underthinks, or overreacts, money moves away from them towards someone calmer, sharper, colder. The rich aren't geniuses, they're just emotionally detached. They treat money like a soldier, not a pet. Most people are sentimental about money. They hold it, fear it, worship it. The rich deploy it. They make it work, make it fight, make it return with more. And if it doesn't, they learn, adjust, redeploy. It's not personal, it's war. Machiavelli said fortune rewards the bold, but only if they're disciplined. Most people fail because they wait for permission. Permission to start, permission to risk, permission to believe they're worthy of more. They hide behind someday like it's a strategy, but someday never comes. The rich don't wait, they act, even when it's messy, even when it's uncertain. Because hesitation is the silent killer of opportunity. The moment you wait to feel ready, someone else takes your spot. You stay broke because you confuse preparation with progress. You don't need more motivation, Ace. You need momentum. Movement creates clarity. Machiavelli would tell you, fortune is a wild woman. She doesn't wait for the timid. She falls for those who grab her by the hand and pull her into motion. Wealth works the same way. It doesn't come to those who hope. It comes to those who pursue. And yet most people want the reward without the risk. They want to get rich without ever being uncomfortable. But here's the paradox. The more you try to avoid pain, the poorer you stay. Because all growth happens on the edge of discomfort, the edge where fear meets action. You want to know why the rich seem fearless? They're not. They've just trained themselves to act through fear. They've made discomfort their ally. Machiavelli said a ruler must learn to be both fox and lion, cunning and courageous. That balance is everything. Be smart enough to see the traps, but brave enough to step into the arena anyway. Most people are only one or the other. The cowardly fox who overthinks, or the reckless lion who charges blind. That's why they lose. The rich are both, strategic and relentless, and let's be real, the system we live in doesn't want you rich. It needs you comfortable, busy, obedient. It feeds you dreams that keep you working for someone else's. Machiavelli warned that rulers maintain power by keeping citizens busy with trivial pleasures. Bread and circuses, TikTok and takeout. It's the same thing. Every distraction is a leash. Every impulse purchase is a tax on your willpower. You think you're free because you choose your entertainment, but the truth is you're entertained to stay distracted. So how do you break out? You start thinking like a ruler, not a subject. You stop asking for permission and you start taking responsibility. Every dollar, every hour, every habit, it's a vote. And right now, you're voting for your future, whether you realize it or not. Machiavelli said fortune controls half of life, but the other half is yours to command. Most people surrender both halves. They blame the economy, the government, their past, their parents, anything but themselves. But the moment you stop outsourcing blame, you start building leverage. Leverage, that's the real secret. The poor trade time for money. The rich trade ideas, systems, and influence. You have the same 24 hours, but not the same structure. Machiavelli said, it's not strength that makes a ruler powerful, it's strategy. The ability to make others move when you do not. That's wealth. Passive income is just modern leverage. It's the digital version of Machiavelli's court, where power multiplies because others are working for you, even when you're not in the room. But leverage starts in the mind. If you can't manage your emotions, you'll never manage people, money, or systems. The rich aren't immune to fear. They've just learned to see it as data, not a command. They don't panic when markets crash, because chaos is where power shifts. Machiavelli said wise rulers use turmoil to expand control. In our world, crises create the biggest transfers of wealth. When everyone else is selling, the calm few are buying. When everyone's afraid, they prepare. That's not luck, that's training. People say money changes you. It doesn't. It reveals you. It shows whether you were disciplined or deceitful, patient or greedy, thoughtful or reckless. That's why Machiavelli's lessons are still brutal and true. They expose the gap between who you think you are and who you actually are when power enters the room. Money just magnifies your habits. So if you can't handle $1,000 with control, $1,000 will destroy you. Getting rich isn't about getting, it's about becoming. Becoming someone who can handle abundance without collapsing under it. And here's the irony. Once you become that person, money stops being the goal, it becomes a byproduct. Because real wealth isn't a number, it's silence, it's the absence of panic, it's waking up and realizing you own your day. You can't buy that feeling. You earn it through discipline, detachment, and years of making the right hard choices. Machiavelli would say, that's true power. Not the ability to dominate others, but to no longer be dominated by circumstance. But you can't fake it. The world tests everyone. The minute you start rising, it'll push back, with doubt, criticism, failure, betrayal. That's the cost of ambition. Machiavelli said a ruler must be ready to be hated. Most people can't handle that. They crumble the moment approval disappears. That's why they stay average, because they want to be liked more than they want to be free. But if you can handle being misunderstood, if you can survive being doubted, you become unstoppable, because then you don't need anyone's validation to keep moving. Wealth is built on long, lonely seasons of invisibility. Years when no one claps, when no one believes, when you question everything. That's the tunnel everyone must walk through. Machiavelli would call it the test of necessity, the moment where comfort dies and transformation begins. Those who endure it emerge different, sharper, colder, free. Everyone else? They turn back at the first sign of pain and call the winners lucky. The truth is, getting rich is brutally simple. Spend less than you earn, invest the difference, repeat for years. But that's not the real challenge. The challenge is staying consistent while everyone else loses focus. The rich just stay in the game longer. That's it. They outlast you. They treat wealth like war, and they never stop showing up because they know what Machiavelli knew. Fortune is fickle, but discipline endures. In the end, all of this comes down to one question. Are you willing to see reality as it is, not as you wish it were? Because that's what Machiavelli taught. Not cruelty, not manipulation, clarity. The clarity to see how the world truly works and the courage to play accordingly. Most people can't handle that truth. They'd rather stay comfortable inside the illusion that the system is fair, that effort equals reward. It doesn't. The world rewards effectiveness, not innocence. So maybe the path to wealth isn't hidden at all. Maybe it's been in front of you the whole time, in your habits, your decisions, your silence. Getting rich isn't mysterious. It's mechanical. It's the daily, boring repetition of intelligent actions compounded over years, brutal in its simplicity. And yet, most will never do it, because it's not that they can't, it's that they won't. They'll keep waiting for luck, for signs, for someone to show them the way. But the truth, no one's coming. You're the ruler now. The kingdom is your mind, the army is your focus, the gold is time. Spend it wisely, or someone else will.